So this is a repeat of the conversation I had with Upper Sixth a bit earlier on. It didn't record, so I'm just repeating what we discussed a bit earlier on. There's no need for anybody to be listening to this. So I started off by just reminding you of what had been sent through by Mr. Smith over the holidays with our expectations of Upper Sixth for the rest of this term. So really the idea is up until the bank holiday weekend, you're going to be completing revision activities. So really from our point of view, we need to be getting integration well underway because we haven't even finished that yet. After the bank holiday weekend, the idea is you're going to have extension classes that will sort of support you into university and what have you. Again, I think the best support we can give you from the maths point of view to start with is to get the integration completed. So, so be it before the bank holiday weekend or after the bank holiday weekend, but my goal is just to get the integration completed, because if you're going to be taking your maths any further, you're going to want to be on top of your integration. Okay, this was then an extract which has been sent through to the teachers. So this is what we've got, and obviously it's covering the same material. Now this bit in purple was quite interesting. Please ensure that you are not setting tests, as this is not allowed under DFE guidance. Okay, so really we're not, the idea is that any work that was being set test-wise remotely is a bit irrelevant, because for all we know you're just speaking to each other and copying each other's answers. So we're not, so testing is not being taken into account. Okay, now I think for the purposes of consolidating your understanding, it still makes sense for us to do the unit tests, but let's just treat them as worksheets. Okay, so the results don't go anywhere, but it's just an opportunity for you to be confident that you fully understand the material. So we're still going to be setting the unit tests, but not as tests as such. They're going to be worksheets, you know, so they're not being taken under test conditions. And again, this is just spelling out a little bit of the ideas, what we'll be doing with sixth form after the bank holiday weekend, so weekend after next. But again, I think we'll start off with making sure we get the integration finished. So the next thing that I went through was just reminding you how the chapter breaks down, and I've done 11A and 11B hopefully, which is the first bullet point. We're going to be looking at 11C today, which is using the trigonomic identities. Now once we've done 11A, 11B and 11C, you're then armed and ready to have a go at the Unit 10 test. Okay, so the first of the two integration unit tests. So I've included that on Teams, and I'll show you where that is in a moment. So we've now found out how, you might know this already, but how we can easily give you work on Teams via assignments. So you will find now, if you go onto your notebook, your class notebook, your notebook, and it's not under homework because this is another year group. But if you go and look under unit tests, you'll see, I think that you've got one set from by Mr. Kent on one of the statistics chapters, and you'll see that I've now added the first of the integration tests. So my view is this week that, oh yeah, but yes, sorry, just before that. So yes, so you'll see that the test is there waiting for you. When you click on the right-hand side, you'll actually see the test itself, and you'll see there's this little yellow box underneath it. Now, when you click on that, that will then give you the option to upload your answers. So the test itself you can download from Show My Homework. I've included it on today's Show My Homework. Okay, so the unit test is there available. And then make sure once you've clicked on the box, you've got these two options. So I think if you're doing it by way of your phone, you're probably going to go down that picture option. But if you're scanning it and then uploading it that way, so you're going down the file option, do make sure you choose the insert file printout option and not the insert as attachment, please. That then allows us to mark it. So, yes, I think yeah, the other thing I meant to say is that I've gone and back on this slide, I've gone and uploaded all these slides onto, as a PDF, onto Show My Homework. Okay, so these slides that we're just about to talk through, you can see those on Show My Homework, and I've sort of added to them over the break. So back to the chapter itself. So just to remind you what we started off with, 11A was all about just getting familiar with some of the standard integrals. So 1 to 5 are ones that you've seen before, and then 6, 7, 8, and 9, they're ones that you kind of have to learn, but if you just remember that they're the opposite of the differentials are given to you in the formula book. So when you differentiate tan x, you get sec squared x and so on. So working the other way, when you integrate sec squared x, you get tan x. So these color-coded ones here tie in with the differentials, but obviously you're reading right to left. So 11a was all about just practicing using these various standard integrals. So I'm hoping you've had a chance to work your way through 11a. Now 11b was when we start for the first time thinking about the reverse of the chain rule. So remember, the chain rule is what you use for differentiation. So if we start working the other way around, we can sort of do the reverse of the chain rule to integrate a number of composite functions. But the ones we just started with here under 11.2 were just when it was sort of a linear format. It was in your ax plus b format. So hopefully you've managed to work your way through 11b. Now what I've done here, I think when it started getting a bit trickier around the question 3 mark, yes, here we go. I've now gone and sort of done these in my own fair hand. So I've sort of added a bit to the modelled answers, popping in a few extra lines. So you may find if you've struggled to understand these with the modelled answers, the ones that I've written out just sort of help you bridge that gap. But if there are any of these you can't do, just get in touch with me via Teams or by email. Just say which questions you can't do, and I'll go and do a video explaining it fully and uploading that onto both Teams and YouTube. All right, so there's 3AB, 3C and 3D, E and F, G and H. So I've done all of those in my fair hand. So if you did get stuck with any of those, then you can have another look at those. And similarly with question 4, I've gone and worked through 4A, 4B, 4C, and 4D. Okay, so but then once we got on to 5 and 6, it was just sort of definite integrals. Whilst they're a bit fiddly, I didn't think these really required much extra explanation. So you've just got the standard modelled answers here. Now, the new bit is 11.3 leading into 11c, and this is where we're trying to integrate something which we can't integrate in its given form. We have to use our knowledge of trigonometry to set the integral in a different manner, such that a different equivalent integral, so that we can actually integrate it. So what I'm saying is, for example, example 5, you can't integrate tan squared x. Looking at it the other way around, there's nothing that when you differentiate it gives you exactly tan squared x. There's nothing you could use the chain rule on, that when you go and do the chain rule, you're left with exactly tan squared x. So therefore, you just can't do it the other way as well. You can't integrate it. However, if you remember from your trig studies that sec squared x is the same thing as 1 plus tan squared x, taking away 1 from both sides, we can say that tan squared x equals sec squared x minus 1. And sec squared x can be integrated. It's one of our standard integrals. It's the yellow one, number 6. So just by using our trig knowledge, we can set the integral as a different integral, and that allows us to integrate it. So that's the example 5. Similarly with example 6, you cannot integrate sin squared x. There's nothing that you can differentiate using the chain rule that gives you exactly sin squared x. However, if you use your double angle formula and use that second one there, because cos 2a equals 1 minus 2 sin squared a, we can basically rearrange that to say that sin squared x equals a half minus a half cos 2x, and that can be integrated. So again, we've had to do some trig work to get the question to a format that allows us to use our standard integrals. And similarly with example 7, okay, and we're sort of using the yes, again using the double angle formula that sin 2a is the same thing as 2 sin a cos a. So what I need you to do, please, this week, I want you to, we've got 3 lessons this week, so I want you to go back over 11a and 11b if you got stuck. I want you to work your way through 11c, this exercise here, Okay, I think there's only 7 questions, but quite a few of them earlier on have got lots of A's, B's, C's and D's. And then really that third lesson this week, it would be great if you could have a go at that unit test and upload it. So this week is all about the 3 lessons, 11A, 11B, 11C, unit test 1. Okay, so just flicking through the slides, I've done my best on all of 11C to sort of color code all the answers. You can see there's dots and colors flying around everywhere. Okay, so every single one of these I've done myself, I think, from memory. So here we're going through question 2. It looks like it's every single one in my own hand. Sort of, you see, I'm trying to color code it all the time, tying it in with the standard integrals. So take your time working through this. Yes, some of these later ones, we've got the modelled answer at the top, but I just thought we just needed a bit of help to sort of get through the trig bit. So some of these, like this one here, I've just reminded us how we get from sin squared x to 1 minus cos 2x at the bottom. So I've just sort of fleshed out the model answers. All right, and same with 4. You see, just getting from there to there, 4A, I just thought it was helpful just to have all the various steps to allow us to go from the first to the second. Right, so this should take you through all of question 4. And yes, and then 5 and 6 and 5 and parts of 6 and 7 I thought were fairly straightforward. But again, I've just tried to flesh out the bits that I thought you might get a bit stuck on. Okay, so that's it. All right, yes, that's the next bit we're going to do. So it's just up to the end of 11C this week. So to conclude, guys, you've got 3 lessons this week. I won't be going live in the other 2 lessons, okay? But obviously, if you're getting stuck on any of these questions, I'll be here keeping an eye on Teams if you've got any queries during those lesson time. But please feel free to ask me anytime if you're getting stuck. So just message me through Teams or via email. Just say what question you're stuck on, and I'll put through a video explaining the answers, which I can just upload onto Teams, and I can upload onto Teams and YouTube. So sorry I've had to do a second version of this, but I think I've covered all the same points.